Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
According to a letter that the acting director of ICE just sent to Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez, on ICE's non-detained docket, they're currently tracking 425,000 non-citizens who have been convicted of a crime.
And as vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
So Kamala Harris is claiming that she's going to somehow go to the border. But where have you been this whole time? Wait till you see how many criminals that came into our country. It's going to blow your socks off. This video is brought to you by ground.news/Tatum. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, Kamala, knee pad Harris, Indian cuisine Harris. I don't know. She's so fake, man. I looked at a collage picture of Kamala Harris's family and all of her family photos, and I wonder, have you guys noticed this? And her race is really irrelevant. It's the fact that she's lying about it that's the problem, right? I don't care if she's Indian. I don't care if she's whatever, Asian. She can be whatever she want to be. I don't give a flying flip. You know, your boy Vivek Ramaswamy is an Indian, and I'm not mad at him. I like him. So I don't care nothing about the race part. But when you lying and being fake about it is the crazy thing. Every time I hear her talk about an interview and her being raised, she never mentioned her dad. She only mentioned her mom. And then when you see all these family photos, you like see pictures of her in an Indian family. And I think she was passable as black because her dad was black, that she somehow started to buy into black culture in her younger years. But Kamala Harris ain't really standing on business like that for being black. Anyway, let's get to some other things that she lied about. And this is why I love Ground.News. I wish that I'd have came up with this business concept. There's nobody out here that's doing what Ground.News is doing. Nobody's doing it. I wish I'd be filthy rich at this point. But anyway, since I'm not, I definitely want to show you guys about it because I think it's important. There's no place that you can see a balanced perspective or at least see from all angles. That's how you become smart and informed. I wish it was like mandated that every news site had to be like Ground.News. You'll hear Kamala Harris saying that she's going to the U.S.-Mexico border and trying to show that her record is better than Donald Trump right here in the state of Arizona. This is what the left is saying. You can go see what the left is saying, what the center is saying, and what the right is saying. And then there's, as soon as they get a couple more articles in here, they'll have the bias comparison, which you'll click it and it'll go through and show what every angle is based on their bias comparison. And if you're looking for the articles, they're all here. You can see how many are left, center, right. And if you want to just listen to stuff on the left, take your whole day to lose some brain cells or at least know what the other side is saying, you can go to the left. You can go to center so you don't have to, pick a side. You can kind of get some stuff that may be impartial, or you can go to the right where most of the truth is at. Now, Kamala Harris is going there, and you can see what news organizations are promoting and talking about it. There's a factuality basis, meaning all the articles that are written, how many of those are rated as factual. So it's a highly factual conglomerate of articles that are written, and you can know that by this factuality little ticker up here. And you go here and you see who's writing these articles. Is it media conglomerates? You go down to wealth private owners or wealthy private owners or whatever, independent news. You can see, therefore you can find out if there's an agenda. That's how I look at it. I want to see if there's an agenda or not. Also, you can see where this is talked about around the world, right? If you see something that's talked about and you see them talking about it in South Africa, you see them talking about somewhere here in Russia, you can get a perspective of why it's important globally and not just in the United States of America. But anyway, and if you like certain people, you can click on there to keep up with them, keep up with Kamala, keep up with Donald Trump, keep up with Joe Biden. But the main thing I want you guys to do is I want you to go to ground.news/Tatum, and I want you to sign up through my link and get 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use for unlimited access. Make sure you go. The link is in the description section. 40% off Get the Vantage plan. Get unlimited access so you don't have to worry about no apprehensions or you get all access. I don't want to pay for half or nothing. I want it all, baby. Now let's get into this article real quick. Let's get into some evidence, right? Because I like to talk about certain things, but I also want to show evidence. So there's a news article that is covering, and the reason I picked Fox News, which we got this from Ground.News, which I picked for Fox News because Fox News is going to tell the truth, right? And if they are slightly off, I can research it and verify. These other organizations, they completely lie to you and they scrape the lie off the internet. Roll the clip.
Yeah, and Sandra, bear with me. We just got these numbers moments ago, but it's a jaw dropper to say the least. So to set the stage here, let me just explain what these numbers mean. ICE has something called a non-detained docket. Essentially what that is it means migrants who were encountered by DHS but are no longer in federal custody. So who's on this non-detained docket? It's illegal immigrants who were caught and released at the border, released with the court date years away. They're in immigration proceedings, combined with illegal immigrants who have already been ordered, deported from the country by a judge, but are still here roaming the country. So keep that in mind, this non-detained docket.
Now,
According to a letter that the acting director of ICE just sent to Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez, on ICE's non-detained docket, they're currently tracking 425,000 non-citizens who have been convicted of a crime.
think about that. They're trying to track down 425,000 people who have been convicted of a crime. I'm gonna let him finish, and then I'm gonna show you how significant that number is.
Of that number, over 13,000 non-citizens have convictions for homicide and are on the non-detained docket, meaning they're roaming the country right now. On top of that, there are another 15,811 non-citizens convicted of sexual assault who are roaming the country right now on ICE's non-detained docket.
Now let's put this in perspective. If these numbers right here don't make you want to throw up and rebel, I don't know what will. Let's put the cities on there, because I want you to know in the United States of America, the population of entire cities are reflective of criminals that are roaming in our country on a non-detained list. Remember that number was 425 or something, like 425,000 people. Now I want to put this stuff in perspective, right? That number was 425,000 criminals. We saw about 13,000 are wanted for murder. 400-some thousand criminals roaming the United States of America after committing crimes, and ICE is looking for them. Memphis, Tennessee got 600,000. Baltimore, Maryland is a huge city, got 500. Let's go down a little bit. Tucson, that's almost as many people that live in Tucson, Arizona. That's like if every Tucsonian had a criminal record that's wanted for a crime. But let's go down to some more ones that are close to this number, right? You got Miami at 455. That's like almost everybody in Miami is wanted for murder. I mean, not murder, but wanted for a crime that they committed. That's like if you put these people together, that can cover almost the whole city of Miami of illegal criminals. Let's just keep going. I want to keep you find your city on here. Long Beach, California, Oakland. Almost more people than Oakland. Then we got Minnesota or Minneapolis. You got almost the same as the city of Minneapolis. Bakersfield, more than Bakersfield, more than Tulsa, Oklahoma, more than Tampa, more than Arlington, Texas, Wichita, Kansas, Aurora, more than, then it get crazier. Let me find one of these cities that is twice as many. Let's go back to Arizona. You look at, Madison, Wisconsin. Almost twice as many people that's in Madison, Wisconsin. Chandler, Gilbert, Reno, Buffalo, New York. Twice as many people that live in Buffalo, New York are wanted fugitives. Now, Lubbock, Texas is small. Irving, Texas. Let me see if there's Scottsdale, Arizona, where I live. Double Scottsdale. Y'all, I can't imagine. I'm going to get to the next point. Boise, Idaho. I can't imagine that these people number as many as in Miami, Tucson, dang near. Do you know how many people that is? And they're criminals wanted, many of them for violent crimes. 13,000 murderers? 13,000 murderers, man. 15,000 people wanted for sexual assault. 15,000.
It doesn't stop there. Those are convictions. The ICE director also says there are currently just under 1,900 non-citizens on the non-detained docket who have pending homicide charges who are roaming the country, and another 4,250 non-citizens who have pending sexual assault charges who are roaming the country on the non-detained docket.
And these are people with pending charges. So with pending charges and actual convictions that never showed up to court or are roaming around or whatever it can be, you have, what's the numbers together? 600 and some thousand? What was that? Was it 420? So like 640 something? 647. The mathematician over there. 647,000 people. That's bigger than Miami. That's bigger. Let's go back to our state chart. If you put them both together, let me see what city can we make a comparable draw a comparison to. Let me go up a little bit. Around 600 and something thousand, 640. You're talking about almost the size of Nashville, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, Nevada, Boston, Detroit. It's more people than in Detroit. More people than in Portland, Oregon. More people than in Louisville, Kentucky. Between people who are convicted and wanted criminals. And Kamala Harris, swear to God, she at the border doing something. Let me finish.
People's eyes might be glazing over right now with all the numbers we just threw at you. Just to put it in a nutshell right here, what we've learned from the acting ICE director via this letter to Congressman Tony Gonzalez is right now there are over 13,000 illegal aliens convicted of homicide who are roaming the United States right now. There are another 15,811 illegal aliens roaming the country right now who have been convicted of sexual assault, and there are even more who are facing charges for homicide and charges for sexual assault. So this just goes to show, guys, the non-detained docket has exploded under the Biden administration to over, I believe it's 7.3 million. They're anticipating it could hit 8 million by the end of the year. But looking at the numbers on this letter right here, there are currently over 600,000 non-citizens on ICE's non-detained docket who are either convicted, 600,000 non-citizens on this non-detained docket who are roaming the country right now. Of that, 425,000 have already been convicted of crimes. 222,000 are pending crimes. And again, the most serious crimes we just told you about, over 13,000 convicted of homicide, over 15,000 convicted of sexual assault. And honestly, that is not a surprise to hear given these horrible headlines we keep seeing popping up in multiple parts of the country almost every day now of a horrible sexual assault or a murder or another violent felony committed by an illegal alien who is often caught and released from custody. And the jaw dropper here too, guys, is all these numbers we just rattled off, they don't even account for the nearly 2 million gotaways who have crossed our border under the Biden administration. Those almost 2 million gotaways, they were never encountered by DHS. They snuck in. They were never caught by Border Patrol. They were never encountered by ICE. There's no record of them, so they have nothing to do with the numbers I just rattled off to you. These are just the numbers of people that ICE has already encountered, that Border Patrol has encountered, that DHS knows who they are. And we just saw those horrible stories in Nantucket the other day. ICE ran a week-long operation in Nantucket, and in a single operation in a 48-hour span, they arrested 2 Salvadoran illegal aliens who came into the country as gotaways and were arrested for child rape on Nantucket. They got a Brazilian guy who was arrested for sexually assaulting a Nantucket resident, and then a Guatemalan guy who was previously deported who was arrested for sexually assaulting a Nantucket resident. So we keep seeing all these headlines about migrant crime popping up in different cities all over the country. This right here is the first time we have ever seen specific numbers as to who and what ICE is tracking when it comes to convicted criminals who have crossed the border at some point and are either supposed to be deported or are going through their immigration proceedings.
Now tell me how this is okay. I just don't understand, man. I mean, whether you like Trump or not, whether you're Kamala, these people been in office for 3.5 years. They had been in office before Trump for 8 years. How is it that we haven't had immigration fixed? And God is my witness. I put my life on it. I remember hearing Kamala Harris say this at the beginning of their term. This is not a problem. There is no crisis at the border. Democrats ran amok. We like, what do you mean there's no crisis? It's fabricated by Republicans. There's no crisis at the border. It's just people looking for an opportunity. What? 400-some thousand people that should be in jail right now? That even if they went to jail, why do we have to house these people? 13,000 people, if they go to jail for murder, where are they going to jail at? And our tax dollars are going to pay for their services. I got some more clips I want to play. Let's play the clip from the young lady here who mentioned how these people are getting Medicaid and they're getting government assistance. And you go to like young girl that got stabbed in she having to GoFundMe. She got stabbed at ASU by a nut job. She got to GoFundMe to raise $20,000, which is probably how much it cost for that hospital bill she had to endure when she got stabbed by an idiot. Illegal's free. If you were illegally in this country, somebody stabbed you, girl, you ain't got to GoFundMe nothing. You ain't paying for nothing at the hospital. But if you're a citizen trying to better yourself at the university, paying taxes, your family paying taxes, you got to come out $20,000 or else. Let's roll the clip what this woman said, because I thought this was pretty crucial.
Okay, so Arkansas is having a really big immigrant issue. I work at a women's clinic, and we had a patient come in who'd been in the country for 5 days from Guatemala. My boss was asking way too many questions about how she got Arkansas Medicaid, being in the country for 5 days. The 2 ladies she was with got in my boss's face and told her she was asking too many questions. And they took the patient and she left. She didn't deliver with us. This stuff is real and it's happening. And I need other people to recognize what's going on. It's scary. We have other women who are broke and Arkansans who need that secondary Medicaid to help pick up like deductible and co-insurance because it's expensive and life is expensive. But to have someone come in the country from Guatemala and after 5 days in the country, they have a card, an actual card. My kids don't have Medicaid cards. They have an actual card. So if the governor's office wants to get in contact, I would like to know how the hell this is happening. Other women, it takes like 3 months to get their Medicaid started. And so they get hounded every time they come in because they have a balance and they can't pay it. This is bullshit. In conclusion, how is this happening? These people aren't even speaking English. I mean, chances are how are they getting names right on the card? There's so many factors here. It's inside. Someone inside Arkansas Medicaid has some connections to either HIAS or the Clinton Foundation. Something's happening to get these people. They're being trafficked. That's the only explanation. Trafficking.
Now, do I believe everything everybody say? No. She sound pretty convincing. Some things she said are specifics, which make me believe that she is actually experiencing these things, right? If she just generically said, "Oh, they're coming into the clinic," when she said they got their names on a medical card, they got their names on the Medicaid card. that this girl was in there for 5 days and she got access to Medicaid. Like little things, that nuances that triggered in her mind to make her recall them, which was minor details, makes me feel like that some of this has to be true, what she's saying. People that are just so generic in everything they say, I don't really think that half of what they say is true. But I know that this is happening. Whenever the Fauci virus came out, I call it Fauci virus because he's the biggest liar when it came to that virus. When that virus came out, they were saying hospitals are overrun. And I'm like, I know why the hospitals are overrun. Because y'all got a ton of illegals in this country, undocumented, unaccounted for. And when they built the hospitals, I would argue that they built the hospitals with a certain capacity in mind, based on the population of the surrounding area. And then they put another hospital over here to compensate for the population of these two areas. Therefore, they don't get one hospital just completely overrun and they can't function on a typical day-to-day basis. I would argue that they probably build these hospitals with capability of, in an emergency mass casualty situation, they can deal with it. But what you can't deal with is that you build these hospitals on a certain population count and demographic that you know of, and then 70,000 unaccounted for people show up in the city. 70,000, 100,000, 40,000. And then there's a crisis. People get sick. And now you got 40,000 extra people that you did not have. They get sick too. They going right there to the emergency room. Emergency rooms all across the country. Now, I can't say people are bleeding out in a thing because I think you will take precedent and priority. But there's a lot of people that are going to the emergency room and they're not getting the service that they deserve because they got a ton of illegals in there. Because illegals can't go set up an appointment if they got a headache or if they got a stomach ache or they feel nauseated or dizzy or, you know, they got some thyroid issue that they have no idea about and they feel like crap. They don't have insurance. They don't have any ID. They can't go to a doctor and set up an appointment and see what's going on with them. They have a complication through pregnancy. They don't have a care physician. They got an OBGYN. They just go straight to the emergency room. And therefore, they just piling up in the emergency room and taking so many resources, and your bill go up. And Kamala Harris talking about she finna go to the border. These people are ridiculous. It's sickening, and I wish that we do something about it. I don't know. Tell me what we should do in the comment section. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.